Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about Amnesty International. I'm the convener of the LGBTQ network here in New South Wales, and basically I'm up here because I want all of you involved, each and every one of you to get involved, which is easier than you think. Alright, Amnesty, for those of you that don't know, Amnesty International is a global human rights organisation. It was set up in 1961, it's independent, doesn't take any funding from any corporations or any governments, which means it's totally unbiased. And Amnesty fights for the rights of people, for everybody really, particularly people who are threatened with execution or persecution or torture or discrimination. And I guess I'm just going to pause for a minute. It's like, it's a really good view from up here, and you're all fabulous. And I guess we all got up this morning, and you know, there are a couple of threats to our well-being this morning. You know, not least the weather and the hair product combination. But I guess in Australia we don't have the same rights yet as the straight community, and there's a lot of fantastic people working really hard in a lot of awesome organisations to change that, and yay for them. But I guess last night I was up late writing a letter for our Amnesty stall about Nigeria. And when I got up this morning, I still had Nigeria on my mind. And in Nigeria at the moment, they have passed some legislation through the House of Representatives, and it's going to go through their upper house soon. And that legislation is about banning same-sex marriage, which is kind of irrelevant in Nigeria because homosexuality is illegal anyway. But the problem with this legislation is it really broadly defines what same-sex marriage is, and includes cohabitation of any sort for same-sex people, including sharing a flat. So I was kind of thinking about it this morning when I woke up and I was having coffee and it was 6:15 and that's an obscene time of day. And I was thinking, you know what, if my wife was picked up and transported to Nigeria and this law was passed, I'd be in all sorts of trouble. And I thought about my flatmate and I, and how many times we sit on our balcony and talk about women. And I thought, you know what, if our neighbours dogged us in and we lived in Nigeria, we could face 3 years jail. And the other part of this law that's even, well, it's just as scary, is that it says that anybody who supports or helps or aids and abets a homosexual couple, or even a couple of homosexuals living together, can be imprisoned for 5 years. And I thought, you know what, my life would be very different. There would be no Fair Day, there would be no Slide, no Bank, no ARC, there'd be no gay and lesbian rights lobby, there'd be no bears, there'd be no dykes on bikes, there'd be no gender centre, none of it. We wouldn't be here today, because the police would just come and round us up and find us a really big jail. So I kind of thought, you know, the world's not right yet. So we've got work to do, people. We really do. And I guess people get really overwhelmed by this stuff. And that's not surprising. It's awful and it is overwhelming. But what I'm here to say today is that all of us can make a difference. And in fact, it'll take all of us to make a difference. But it is easier than you think. Amnesty International has 1.8 million members around the world in about 150 different countries. And there's about 80,000 people in Australia who are members of Amnesty. And if you think about it, if 80,000 people wrote a letter to a government, you know, it'd at least get their attention. And it does. Sometimes it does work. You know, there's reports of people being released from jail or being taken off death row because of the number of letters that people have sent. Because suddenly the government of that country realises that the world is watching and we're not happy and we're not okay with it. And I guess there's also reports of even the people who don't get released from jail, their jailers start treating them better. They stop abusing them while they're in jail because they know amnesty letters keep flooding in, and it does make a difference. And I guess the other thing we try and do is make it easy. So we have a network and we meet once a month, and I guess if you can't get to meetings, that's okay. We have an email list. You can join our email list, and every now and then we'll send you out like a letter about an issue, and we'll make it easy. We'll do a sample letter. You just have to print it and post it, or even email it. And if governments start getting lots and lots of letters about the same thing, they pay attention. And there was, I guess one of my favourite quotes ever was by the Dalai Lama, who said that if you think you're too small to make a difference, then try sleeping with a mosquito. And I guess what I want is for all of you here today to become those mosquitoes and not let those governments do those things that they shouldn't. You know, let's be the mosquitoes that stop the governments allowing the human rights abuses to happen. That's my message, really. So, happy Fair Day. And the amnesty stall is over there. If you haven't signed a letter, we still have them there for you to sign. And a huge thank you for my lovely interpreter Beck, who filled in at the very last minute. Thank you.